Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis, and while it's Monday and we don't have any information with regards to the season, we are just about spot on 1 day away from the new season. Now, I wish we had some information, a name, a small trailer, something I could get you guys, but we don't. So that information is going to be coming tomorrow. Early morning, probably 7 to 8 Pacific time, however that translates, whenever they drop it, probably a couple hours, server downtime, and then we'll get into the new season. So come hang out on stream, come watch the new videos for guides for the season and everything else, and then I'll be doing a ton of work on the dungeon this weekend. So lots to look forward to. We're just still kind of in the dark a day before. Personally, I wish they would actually drop the trailer on a Monday, because then I could analyze the trailer, get you guys kind of hype rolling. All of us YouTubers could probably do their free marketing for them. And then I could also sleep in until reset, because I know it's going to be a long day, but now I've got to get up earlier and do all that stuff. So part of it's just me being a content creator, but honestly, I would just rather see it 1 day beforehand, because at this point, I'm pretty sure it's going to be something about Rasputin, and anything else from there just would be curious to know. So that being said, we do have a little bit of information with regards to what is coming next season. And I want to just get you guys thinking about some weapons that you might be using, and then also some mods that really could be game changers next season. But weapons to be using and stuff like that, we'll kind of put those together. But some weapons that are actually coming into the game next season, some we've seen before. So we've seen the Dark Decider, which is a 720 auto rifle. It is a rapid fire frame. I don't typically love rapid fire frames, and again, it's arc, and we literally just had an arc rapid fire as Sweet Sorrow. This one's already craftable. So I don't know if like that one is going to be worthwhile, but technically that is what's coming, something we've seen before. We've also got Gnora's Axe. That's going to be a slug shotgun. Both of those are going to be Iron Banner weapons. If you like slug shotguns, again, you got some arc action here. Now from Nightfalls, we've got one less exciting. Personally for me, like Hung Jury in Destiny 1 was good. Hung Jury in Destiny 2 as it's a 180 just doesn't feel quite as good. Whether it's a 150 for high impact or, you know, 200 like Tarnished Metal, like this right now for a scout rifle with Volt Shot on there, way more fun than just a kinetic scout rifle. Kinetic weapons right now do feel a bit lacking. Hence why I tend to use Arbalest in that upper slot, because it's the only thing that seems worthwhile in the kinetic slot. So yeah, this one's not that exciting, but we do have Wendigo coming back. Now, this was previously kind of a pursuit weapon, but not exactly. They were, you know, the better weapons to go for. Auto-loading holster, explosive light, blinding grenades, and then explosive light. Now, theoretically, you're going to be able to get an adept version of this thing. So it could be a fun weapon to go for. They are leaning into grenade launchers, it seems, a little bit this coming season. So that'll be kind of fun. As for trials, and remember, some of you guys I know, you're like, oh, I hate PvP, but I can tell you, sometimes you should spend some time in PvP, mostly because when it comes to that playlist, the Alacrity perk is usually well worth your time. So we're going to be getting a Suros Adaptive Frame hand cannon. It's going to be called Exalted Truth. So this is a Suros Adaptive Frame. This is Annual Skate, just a previous one. So while the model may not look exactly the same, you're going to have a 140 adaptive, kind of this Suros look and feel. So it's going to kind of have the animation, stylings to it, stuff along those lines. If it's Suros, you may see like the Suros origin trait plus Alacrity in there. Could be that kind of combination. And then you get some random rolls. We'll see what those perks are going to be. But honestly, a 140 from Suros, kind of like this, I could see this being a pretty good feeling hand cannon. Also, we've got a machine gun coming, and that is going to be a Suros Adaptive Machine Gun. So a 450, usually a good RPM for machine guns. We don't know what damage type it's going to be, whether it's Arc, Solar, Void, or Stasis. We just got a Stasis hand cannon. Well, that was Risen. With regards to machine guns, let's see. We got Stasis. We got Arc. We got Stasis. Nobody seems like, unless you run the dungeon to death. So it's either probably going to be Solar. I bet you it's a Void, because there's not really a great way to get a Void machine gun right now. Fixed odds, Solar. Yeah, I'm going to guess it's going to be Void, just because there's not too many of those right now. That's my hunch on those, just a little bit of a preview of what's coming. But the more important part is going to be artifact mods. Now, they give us a bit of a preview of what the champion mods are going to be. So from previous experience, we can kind of speculate. For anti-champion mods, we're going to have hand cannons. Hand cannons usually have two roles. Either unstoppable, you just like hold it for a second and get that first shot, or they're going to likely be overload. Either way, if they're overload, especially looking for that, you know, explosive payload, anything to get that double time payload on hand cannon is going to be very good there. So kind of look through your vault, see if you've got anything. We've got scout rifles coming. Scout rifles probably are either going to be barrier or maybe unstoppable, maybe overload. Typically they're barrier, but they could throw a wrench into things just with some of this other stuff in here. Bows. I love overload bows because they're just that one solid shot. You get like Layman Arc in there. And Layman Arc's got it intrinsically anyway, but overload just makes it more reliable. I enjoy it when they're bows, but excuse me, bows could also be anti-barrier. Just one of those things we've seen before. Pulse rifles. Pulse rifles, I could see anti-barrier because I think we've seen that before. Or unstoppable. They typically don't do a pulse rifle as an overload. They could always mix things up, but it's not typical. Auto rifles and SMGs, we've seen those for typically either overload for that continuous, you know, hitting, or anti-barrier, of course, like we've got here. So that's kind of what to expect. They also have kind of more of the extreme ones over here. They're going to have an unstoppable grenade launcher mod. Grenade launcher is definitely something they're playing into, so you'll probably want to look through your grenade launchers, see what you got, whether they're legendary or heavy. We're going to have Lucent Finisher, which is one of those where if you do a finisher on a champion, maybe a boss, or I feel like there's champion and something else, lets you return some heavy ammo. Basically, you'll generate a heavy ammo brick for you or your team. We've also got some new twists on Passive Guard, but it's going to be working with glaives. So if you got a glaive, crafted, leveled up, whatever it may be, Passive Guard allows you, when you have that equipped, to take much less damage. So in theory, if glaives are good for certain things, they've got their shield, then you can do some damage. You can pair those with some melee exotics now, since the synergy of doing things like Worm God Caress, or Syntheseps, or Winter's Guile, anything where melee kills increase melee damage, that's going to work with glaives. Pair that with something like Passive Guard, could be a way to stay alive and do some damage. You've also got Breach and Clear. This is the weird one. They say Breach and Clear, which was a grenade launcher thing, and Breach and Clear specifically was like when you do damage with a grenade launcher, they have a weakening effect. So then you're going to be able to do more damage after that. So your first shot would kind of weaken them, and then you could unload with more. Now, when it comes to grenade launchers, you've got a couple of options. They could be special grenade launchers, things like Orwig's Maul, Truth Teller, Deafening Whisper, Salvager Salvo, all of this stuff. Like Forbearance is fantastic. I love that thing. But they state it's going to interact with Void 3.0. Now, how that interaction works, no idea. I think Aztecross had the speculation it's going to work with like Void grenade launchers. So if you have an old Truth Teller, an Orwig's Maul, or if you actually held on to a Deafening Whisper, like there are some old Void grenade launchers. As most of these are old, maybe we'll be getting a new grenade launcher that is Void, especially in the special slot, because we haven't seen one of those in a while. Because literally it's like Arc, Solar, Kinetic, Arc, Solar, Kinetic, Stasis, Kinetic. Like we haven't seen a Void grenade launcher in a long time, so we're probably due. If you go to the heavy category in grenade launchers, whether it's a new or an old grenade launcher, kind of depends on what you've been holding on to. If you got an old Swarm of the Raven, cool, but again, it's not dropping anytime soon. If you got an old Crowd Pleaser, this is from Gambit, Behringer's Memory, those, and the Memory Interdict. Like, all of these are going to be around, but none of them are really reliable. Crowd Pleaser is in the Gambit Engrams right now, so you might check on a couple of those. But any of these, in theory, could be good. The new Wendigo, they probably are going to have that synergized if it's going to be a Nightfall weapon. So I think it's more the fact that not specifically a Void grenade launcher. So I would look through, I mean, even something like Crime Mutiny with Incandescent theoretically could be fun, but then they're going to have it interact with Void 3.0. And I'm wondering if that's going to be something along the lines of like, if you make something volatile, then maybe also it's going to have Breach and Clear in effect. That's where I see, again, I don't know the exact wording, don't know how it's going to function, but my speculation is that if you get like a Void debuff. Now, Weaken seems redundant because Breach and Clear kind of weakens them anyway. So I don't specifically see that, but a Volatile is another one of the debuffs for words that you've got. Weaken, of course, is one of those, but Volatile could be another one, and then you could lean into Volatile, make them explode while they're weakened. I could definitely, or maybe if you have a buff on you, maybe if you have a Void buff like an Overshield or Devour, then while that is active, then you're going to be able to do bonus grenade launcher damage. That would actually be cool because in theory, you could get an overshield maybe from a barricade or, get Devour as a Warlock, or if you go invisible, and then maybe you can get that initial grenade launcher shot to have breach and clear on there, and then they're weakened. Again, it's all giant speculation at this point, but that is something they're going to do. A couple other mods to think about. They mention chest mod theoretically is going to have resilience. They're going to have a legs mod that's going to have mobility. I don't know how much it's going to cost. Who knows? But getting stats in outs, being able to get stats here and then also stats here, depending on what your mods are doing, could be something, especially for resilience right now for PvE. The chest I could see, making some tough choices if you got a certain build. These are usually very strong because they can stack with resilience, but getting more resilience could be an interesting combination. Airborne effectiveness on the helm, I'm not so much a PvP player, so we'll see how much that does from other people. They mentioned one called Monochromatic Maestro, and basically they state it rewards you generously for using weapons and subclasses that match damage types. So if it's Arc, and Arc, theoretically if your weapons and subclasses match, then you can lean into, Arc Siphon like this, getting Arc Final Blows, like really lean into one specific build. That's where maybe you're going to get a bonus to either the arc damage that you output. Again, we'll have to see, but think about builds that are like synergistically all going to be the same damage type. They also have stated that there's going to be one for solo players, like literally a solo player. If you're going to go do a Lost Sector, which we all have to be solo Lost Sector people if we want to get the new exotic, so everybody's going to have to do this at some point. There's going to be a solo player mod. Now, I don't know if that's going to function the way Alacrity does, because right now this is a cool perk from Trials. This is why I tell you to play Trials. Some gain increased reload, stability, aim assist, and range when you are the last living member of a fire team or running solo. That's a big buff. Like these guns, I've got the Summoner, which is an auto rifle. When Alacrity's on, feels like a laser beam, especially depending on the perks that you've got. So it could be something along those lines. Maybe it gives you a bit more resilience. Maybe it gives you some damage mitigation. Maybe it's honestly just the fact that you have like faster reloads, so you have less downtime. I don't know how it's going to function, but that solo player mod is probably going to be roaming out, one of these two sections. Going to have our grenade launchers out here, and then some barrier champion mods, but I do like they're experimenting some. Not all of them are going to be the same, so we should see some new mods. So I just wanted to make this video to get your brain thinking about what could be coming, both in, checking your loadouts to see, do you have hand cannons, scout rifles, bows, pulse rifles, auto rifles, SMGs, and then check your grenade launchers. Think about, breach and clear, void 3.0, see if you get a void build put together, because overshield also is about to be a lot stronger. Overshield right now, that gets you 25% damage mitigation, it's now going to get you 50% damage mitigation. So overshields are going to be stronger. So Titans, I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on Void next season. But all in all, this is just what I wanted to cover for you guys, because it does not seem like we're going to be getting a trailer until tomorrow. So look for that trailer tomorrow. But I wanted to get you thinking about loadouts, maybe prep your character, clean a few things out of the vault, hold on to a couple things if you are cleaning that could be tying into this stuff. And hopefully this just kind of helps you set up your characters tomorrow, so you got some options, you got some, pre-thought about it, maybe get your Void loadout set up, then you log in and just kind of go. It's usually more fun that way. So if you enjoyed this video, drop a like below, leave a comment. If you've got a loadout, a build, a weapon, some way you think any of this stuff is going to work, let us know in the comments below. If you want to find me on Twitter or Twitch, could be streaming a little bit today, but definitely will be streaming tomorrow. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell, and I will see you tomorrow on Twitch, and then of course tomorrow for guides, videos right here on YouTube. Thank you guys, ever you YouTube members or Patreon subs. Everybody, you guys are fantastic. See you soon.